Dear brother in Christ, let me say this loud and clear. The next war won't be fought with bullets or bombs. The seals are opening. The beast is rising. And the men of God must now choose, fight or fade. Because when the power fails, when AI controls the system, when silence falls over the land, only those who prepared in obedience, with faith and wisdom, will stand. This could be the start of the end. It won't be America and Russia. It won't be a red flag waving over a mushroom cloud. It will be silent, invisible, unstoppable, and it's already begun. You won't see it coming on CNN. You won't hear a siren or an air raid warning. There will be no boots on the ground. Just one moment. You're making breakfast, checking your phone, watching the grandkids on the porch, and then everything goes dark. TV, dead. Phone, useless. Car, won't start. Water, not pumping. The world as you know it, gone in a blink. But this isn't just a blackout, this is war. And it's biblical. We've seen the first signs already. Wars, famine, disease, false peace. The seals are being opened, one by one, and most people are too distracted to see it. See, the real threat we face now isn't from Putin or radical Islam, though we came dangerously close when ISIS blacked out Yemen and threatened the U.S. grid back in 2016. No, the real enemy now isn't human. It's digital, it's artificial, and it's being worshipped like a god. I'm talking about the rise of AI, the beast system described in Revelation, that image of power given voice, watching, tracking, punishing the unfaithful. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refuse to worship it to be killed. Revelation 13:15. And you and I both know, what God warned us about 2,000 years ago is happening now. AI is here, running your banks, controlling your car, managing your smart home, even writing the sermons in some woke churches. And it's learning faster than any human alive. It doesn't sleep, doesn't love, doesn't repent. It filters what you see, decides what's true, and punishes what it calls hate. It watches your church, your bank account, your thermostat. And it's being trained to track every thought that doesn't bow to the new God of progress. And what happens when that beast, the one with no soul, no compassion, and no fear of God, is given power over your life, over your family, over everything? Simple. God pulls the plug. Since they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, He gave them over to a depraved mind. Romans 1:28. God won't be using lightning. He'll use man, wicked man, nations that scoff at His name, leaders who bow to machines and sell out their own people. The Lord has made everything for its own purpose, even the wicked for the day of evil. Proverbs 16:4. Nations like China, who just launched the fastest EMP missile in history, or the traitors within our own gates, who built the digital prison we now live in. When Goliath rose, God didn't give David a sword. He gave him a shield of faith and a stone of truth. And today, He's giving us the same. A shield not made of metal, but of wisdom, obedience, and spiritual clarity. Because when AI fails and darkness falls, it won't be your gear that saves you. It'll be your walk with God and the plans He's already revealed. And when the day comes, when the first blast hits, when the grid collapses, when the beast is silenced, not forever, but for a time, as the grid crumbles and its voice is cut off, only those who are faithful, prepared, and wise will survive. Now, you can still turn this off, pretend it's not real, but if you stay with me for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this war will unfold. And more importantly, how you can protect your home with the modern-day equivalent of David's shield. You see, I thought I was ready. I've been prepping for years. I stored the food, I learned the drills, I even trained my kids on what to do if we ever went dark. But not long ago, God showed me I was preparing for the wrong disaster. And when I saw the truth, I felt sick, like the floor dropped out from under me. Everything I thought I knew, everything I believed would keep my family safe, wasn't even close to enough. My name is Henry Morris. You might have seen my work on Survivalpedia or in my best-selling book, Backyard Liberty. For nearly 2 decades, I've been helping American families get prepared for storms, shutdowns, food shortages, and every flavor of chaos. But I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because if I could be caught off guard by what's coming, so could you. I'm not some tinfoil hat bunker guy. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm a husband, a father, and a Christian. The kind of man who prays before bed and gets down in the dirt to fix a busted pipe. And I've made it my life's mission to make sure my wife and kids and as many good people like you as I can are never left helpless when disaster hits. Because here's the truth. We are not fighting a normal war. This isn't bullets and battalions. This is spiritual. This is strategic. This is biblical warfare fought with 21st century weapons. And the most terrifying part? Most Americans won't even realize it's begun until it's too late. I used to think the grid would only go down in a natural disaster, a hurricane, a blizzard, a tornado. But what I discovered just a few months ago shattered that illusion into pieces. It started with a single conversation. A friend of mine, someone deep in the intelligence community, sent me something strange. A Chinese propaganda film. And he said, "Henry, watch this. Don't just look. Read between the lines." So I did. And what I saw made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. At first, it looked like your average war movie. Explosions, soldiers, flags waving. But the more I watched, the more I realized this wasn't just a movie. It was a message, a warning, or maybe a promise. Because the entire story showed one thing: China humiliating America in a war, and doing it without firing a single conventional shot. And as the credits rolled, I knew. This was their battle plan, disguised as entertainment. This is exactly what the word says will happen. For they have healed the wound of my people lightly, saying, "Peace, peace," when there is no peace. We've been lulled to sleep, distracted, blinded by comfort and convenience, while the enemy was rehearsing our destruction right under our noses. And brother, that movie wasn't fiction. It's prophecy wrapped in strategy. Because China has already begun building the weapon that will change everything. Not with tanks, not with troops, but with a strike so precise, so advanced, and so devastating, it could collapse America in less than 5 minutes. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Let me ask you something. What's the one thing that holds America together right now, this very second? Is it our military, our economy, our government? No. It's electricity. The grid, the invisible heartbeat of this modern world. Shut it down and everything dies. Every hospital, every grocery store, every truck on the highway, every satellite in orbit, every faucet, fridge, phone, and firearm with a digital chip. Gone. Frozen in silence. Like the moment before judgment falls. And now, China has the weapon to make that happen. It's called a hypersonic HEMP. That's a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse launched from above the stratosphere. You don't see it, you don't hear it. It doesn't explode like a missile. It releases a surge of invisible destruction, frying every unprotected circuit below. One HEMP over Kansas, and the entire continental U.S. goes dark. And the light of a lamp will never shine in you again. Revelation 18:23. Sound familiar? Now I know this may sound like science fiction. But the U.S. military has confirmed this threat for years. Former CIA Director James Woolsey warned that an EMP could kill 9 out of 10 Americans in the first year, not because of bombs, but because the power would never come back on. We're not talking about a few hours without Wi-Fi. We're talking about permanent grid collapse. No communications, no medical equipment, no food deliveries, no refrigeration, no emergency response, no clean water, no money, no heat, no gas. Just raw chaos. You ever seen a smart home when the power goes out? It turns into a tomb. Doors won't open, cars won't start, AI assistants go silent, digital thermostats freeze, EVs turn into useless bricks. And that's why I say this isn't just a military weapon, it's a spiritual one. For in 1 hour your judgment has come. Revelation 18:10. See, the whole world is running after artificial intelligence. They say it's the future, that it'll make life easier, safer, cleaner. But what happens when that godless machine running your life suddenly has no power? What happens when the beast is cut off from its voice? The silence won't be peaceful, it'll be violent. Because once AI fails, humans revert. And I don't mean back to the 1950s, I mean the Middle Ages. And the government? They'll be fine. They've been shielding their bunkers, their military bases, their satellites for decades. Air Force One is protected. Washington, D.C. is fortified. Our leaders will still eat steak and sleep under warm lights. But you'll be left in the dark, literally and spiritually, unless you do something now. And that's what this video is about. This isn't fear, it isn't panic, it's purposeful biblical preparedness. Biblical, righteous, life-saving preparedness. The kind that Noah practiced. The kind Joseph used to save his family and his nation during a famine. And in just a moment, I'll show you how to get your own version of David's shield so your home doesn't fall with the rest of the nation. But before that, let me show you just how real this threat is and what happened the last time a nation's grid went down. See, this idea of shutting down a nation without firing a shot? It's not theory. It's not hypothetical. It's already happened. And not just once. Let me take you back to Yemen. June 9, 2014. A terrorist group aligned with Al-Qaeda launched a coordinated attack on the country's power infrastructure. No nukes, no tanks, just rocket-propelled grenades, and the clear plan. They hit the grid in 3 key spots, and they blacked out an entire nation. 23 million people gone dark. No electricity, no refrigeration, no communications, no running water. For days, Yemen was a preview of the Book of Revelation. The sun and the air were darkened by the smoke. Most Americans never even heard about it. Mainstream media ignored it. But it happened, and it wasn't a one-time thing. Just a few months later, on January 25, 2015, it happened again, this time in Pakistan. Terrorists, possibly linked to the Taliban, sabotaged a critical transmission line. And in an instant, 140 million people were plunged into total blackout. No light, no heat, no help. Not for hours, but for weeks. Here's the part that makes my blood run cold. They didn't need sophisticated weapons. They didn't need nuclear tech. All they needed was a clear target and the will to strike. And here in the U.S., we're even more vulnerable. In 2014, a leaked report from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission revealed something horrifying. If just 9 of America's 55,000 substations were attacked in the right sequence, it would cause a coast-to-coast blackout for up to 18 months. That's not from some prepper blog. That's from the government's own energy experts. And here's what most people forget. ISIS was planning it. Back in 2016, the FBI confirmed that known ISIS sympathizers had been arrested inside the U.S. in all 50 states. They weren't planning another 9/11. They were planning something worse. They wanted to collapse America from the inside out. And they knew they could do it by targeting the grid. Now, maybe you're thinking, yeah, but ISIS is done for. They're not a threat anymore. And you might be right. But here's the real question. What if ISIS was just the test run? What if that playbook, those strategies, were just training drills to prepare the world for something bigger? Because the enemy we face today isn't hiding in a desert cave. It's sitting in a control room in Beijing or floating 20 miles above our heads in the stratosphere, waiting, watching. And when the order comes, the lights go out. And that's just the first domino. Because what happens after the grid falls? That's when the real nightmare begins. I'll show you what that looks like next, but first I need you to understand something. This pattern of blackout warfare is no longer fringe. It's real, it's tactical, and it's spreading. We saw it in Yemen. We saw it in Pakistan. We saw it with ISIS. And now, it's our turn. Unless you prepare. Unless you shield your home, your food, your water, your family, like Noah before the flood. As it says in Hebrews 11:7, by faith Noah, being warned by God concerning events as yet unseen, constructed an ark for the saving of his household. You don't need to build a boat, but you do need to build your shield, David's shield, and I'll show you how to do that. But first, let me walk you through what happens in the first 72 hours after an EMP strike. It's worse than anything Hollywood's ever shown you. The blast hits. No fire, no explosion, no warning. Just silence. The kind that gets inside your bones. You don't know what happened at first. Your phone won't turn on. The TV screen is blank. The fridge hum is gone. You think maybe it's just a blackout. So you check the lights. Nothing. You check the neighbors. They're already outside. Confused, silent, phones in their hands, tapping screens that won't respond. Then someone says it. It's not a power outage. Nothing works. We've been hit. An hour later, the panic begins. People drive off to find gas only to realize their cars won't start. The ones that do run, they're stuck in gridlocked intersections because traffic lights are dead. No police sirens, no radio broadcasts, no emergency alerts. Just a wall of silence so thick it hums. You keep waiting for the government to show up. They don't. Day 2. You realize the food in your fridge is starting to go bad, and now the water's running slow, or not at all. The kids are scared, the air's getting cold, the batteries are draining. Still no news, no help. You try to reassure your family, tell them it's temporary. But deep down, you know the truth. This isn't temporary. This is collapse. Day 3. The first looters show up. At first, it's just desperation. People grabbing anything they can find. Cans, bread, gasoline, medicine. But by nightfall, it's not desperation anymore. It's rage. Windows shatter, fires start, guns come out, and there's no one to stop them. No cops, no fire trucks, no ambulances. Your neighborhood, once safe, peaceful, is now a war zone, and you're alone. As it says in Matthew 24:12, because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. You go to your storage, praying you stocked enough, but your freezer is useless. Meat is rotting, the insulin is spoiled, the antibiotics are worthless now, broken down from heat and time. The stuff you thought would save you, gone in days. Your kids are hungry, your spouse is freezing, and all the while your neighbors start to disappear. Some are dead, some just vanish. You hear rumors, FEMA camps, soup lines, men with guns taking people from their homes. You look at your family and think, this can't be happening. Not here, not in America. But it is. And that's just the first 3 days. Now imagine 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Because that's how long the experts say it could take to rebuild the grid, if it ever gets rebuilt. And by then, most of the population is gone, not from explosions, but from starvation, disease, violence, exposure. And in those days, people will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them. Revelation 9:6. That's why I'm not just talking about having a flashlight or a bug-out bag. I'm talking about something much deeper, something spiritual. I'm talking about the ark God told Noah to build, the storehouses he told Joseph to prepare, the shield of faith he gave David before he faced Goliath. Because if this blackout hits, you won't have time to react. You'll either be ready or be at the mercy of the mob. And trust me, there's no mercy left when the lights go out. But don't lose hope, because right now there's still time. Not much, but enough. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you how I discovered the only real-world plan that makes survival in a permanent blackout not just possible, but practical. And it all started in the last place I ever expected, among the Amish. When I realized just how close we were to collapse, I did what most men do when they're desperate. I searched everywhere for a solution. I combed through survival blogs, military manuals, government reports, even old CIA documents. But the more I looked, the more frustrated I became. Too complicated, too expensive, too reliant on electricity, which, as you've seen, won't exist. Every so-called solution was built for a world that no longer works, until I found a man named Charles Green. Now listen, Charles is not your average survival expert. He's not some influencer selling gear on YouTube. He's not a prepper hiding in the mountains with 50 rifles and a bunker. Charles is a physicist, a former college professor, brilliant, methodical, and quietly faithful. But what makes him so different? He walked away from everything. A few years ago, Charles saw the writing on the wall, just like I did. But instead of buying more gear or chasing the next high-tech fix, he did something radical. He went to live with the Amish. Not for a weekend, not to write a book, for 2 full years. And not just any Amish, but an old-world Pennsylvania community known for their extreme independence. They live without electricity, without the grid, without modern distractions. Not because they're crazy, because they believe in being separate from the world. Come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord. 2 Corinthians 6:17. And when Charles lived among them, he learned something incredible. They're already living in a post-EMP world. They grow their own food. They store medicine without refrigeration. They know how to build, heat, heal, and thrive using only what God gave them. And you know what else? They're at peace. While the rest of us are addicted to screens and afraid of the dark, the Amish are ready. Not because they're paranoid, but because they're obedient. Charles took everything he learned, every technique, every method, every tool, and wrote it down. Not in some dense textbook. In a simple step-by-step survival guide designed for families like yours and mine. No fancy jargon, no military background required, no solar panels or shipping containers, just pure, tested, biblically aligned survival wisdom. And when he showed it to me, I was floored. Because all the prepping I had done, all the expensive gear I bought, All the modern solutions I clung to didn't hold a candle to what Charles had discovered living like our ancestors did. It was like finding Noah's blueprints for the ark. Simple, quiet, effective, hidden in plain sight. And it works.
Now, Charles didn't want his name out there. He's a private man. But he gave me permission, begged me actually, to share this knowledge with as many God-fearing families as I could, because he knows what's coming. He's seen the signs, he's heard the warnings, and he's not staying silent. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. Proverbs 27:12.
So that's what this is, not a product, not a gimmick, but a refuge, a shield, David's shield. And in just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly what's inside. Everything you need to protect your home, your family, and your future, even if the world around you falls into chaos. But first, let me be brutally honest with you. Most preppers are going to fail, even the ones who think they've got it all figured out.
Why? Because they're preparing for the wrong disaster with the wrong gear, using the wrong mindset. I've seen hundreds of so-called survival systems. Most of them sound great. They've got buzzwords, fancy graphics, big promises. Put your electronics in a Faraday cage. Buy this $2,000 solar generator. Stockpile tactical MREs and iodine tablets.
But here's the truth. If your plan requires electricity, it's already dead. In an EMP collapse, it doesn't matter how many solar panels you have. If the inverter's fried, it won't charge a single thing.
It doesn't matter if you've got your gear in a Faraday cage. If you don't know what to do with it, it's just a metal box full of expensive paperweights. Even most bug-out plans are built on fantasy. Where are you going to go? How are you getting there if your car won't start? What happens when 10,000 other unprepared people are headed to the same safe zone you had mapped out on your app? See the problem?
Charles told me something I'll never forget. The biggest lie in survival is thinking your gear will save you. It won't. Only your knowledge will. That hit me like a brick, because I had the gear, but I didn't have the wisdom. And that's what Charles brought back from the Amish.
Simple methods for keeping food fresh with zero refrigeration, protecting heat-sensitive medicine like insulin without power, filtering water when pumps stop working, building light and heat with tools your grandpa would have recognized, cooking food and baking bread without a single volt of electricity, storing essentials so looters won't even know they exist, creating security without relying on bullets or cameras.
This isn't fantasy. This is how people lived for 6,000 years before the grid ever existed. And they didn't just survive, they thrived.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. Jeremiah 6:16.
Now don't get me wrong, I still believe in being armed, being aware, and having backup systems. But all that means nothing if you don't know how to live without power. And when that EMP hits, that's what it comes down to. Not your gadgets, not your gear, not your Amazon cart, but your knowledge, your mindset, your ability to lead.
Because in that moment, you're either the one who stands firm or the one who begs for help. That's why Charles and I built this program, not to help you prep like a pro, but to help you become the David of your home, the protector, the provider, the man who stands between this family and the darkness. So here it is, the shield that makes it possible, the ark, the plan, the system Charles and I built for men and women like you, men and women who refuse to be powerless when the lights go out.
It's called Blast Proof, David's Shield, how to survive and rebuild when the grid falls and the beast rises. Not just protection from fire and fallout, but from the beast behind the screen, from the godless machine rising to power.
This is the countermeasure to the counterfeit Messiah. Inside, you'll find a complete, easy-to-follow blueprint based on the Amish way of life, Charles' scientific survival testing, and the biblical principles of preparation and providence.
This isn't just a guide. It's a kingdom survival system built to keep your family safe, warm, fed, and secure when the rest of the world falls into panic and darkness. Inside Blast-Proof David's Shield, you'll discover
how to build a simple EMP-proof Faraday shield with parts from your junk drawer, not $1,499 worth of metal mesh. The 5 vital electronics that still matter after an EMP, and why most gadgets become worthless junk. How to keep food and medicine safe, including the Amish method for preserving insulin without refrigeration. How to create light and heat without power, using cheap materials you probably already own. Water security tactics that work even in drought zones, including the hidden sources most people overlook. How to keep looters away without firing a shot, using home layouts, deterrent zones, and under-the-radar principles. How to make your car EMP resilient, even if it's newer and packed with circuits. The #1 mistake preppers make with generators, and how to avoid it so your backup power doesn't betray you. 3 dirt-cheap off-grid energy solutions so you can run lights, charge essentials, or power a well without relying on anyone. The biblical mindset that turns panic into purpose, including scriptures and principles that guided Noah, Joseph, and David in times of national collapse. This isn't theory. It's been tested, proven, and adapted to work right now for men and women like us living in cities, suburbs, farms, or towns across America. It doesn't matter if you're 30 or 70, if you're rich or tight on cash. This system was designed for regular Christian men and women who lead, protect, and prepare. Because when the beast rises, when the lights fail, when chaos reigns, you won't be scrambling for scraps. You'll be the one your family and maybe your whole neighborhood turns to. And I'm not the only one who feels that way.
I've bought dozens of prepping guides, but this one, it actually made sense. No fluff, just solid biblical strategies that I could apply immediately without spending thousands on gear.
Greg H., 54, Texas.
We called it David's Shield because that's what this is. Not a sword, not a bunker, not a panic room, a shield. The kind of shield God gives to those who walk with Him. The kind that covers your home when the flames rise and the mobs roar.
And right now, you still have time to raise it. But not much, because here's the truth. When the next blackout hits, when the grid fails, you won't get a warning. You won't get a second chance. You'll be standing in your kitchen wondering what just happened. And you'll either be ready or you'll be another man praying someone else is. And you and I both know God's not calling you to wait. He's calling you to lead. Every day you rely on the beast system is a day closer to enslavement. This is your way out, your shield, before the voice of the beast is silenced and only the faithful remain.
Now, when Charles and I put this together, we wanted to make sure this wasn't just another book that you forget about after 10 minutes. We wanted to create a full survival command center for faithful men and women who take their calling seriously. That's why, when you get Blast-Proof David's Shield, you won't just get the core guide. You'll also receive 2 critical bonus manuals that you can download right now for free.
Bonus #1, Off-Grid Home Protection Systems. This is your blueprint for keeping your home safe when the system breaks down and the wolves start circling. Inside, you'll discover the best natural perimeter defenses, including God's hedge of defensive bushes that can stop intruders cold, dog breeds that protect like lions, even if you've never trained one before, the psychological tricks that'll make your home look poor to looters, how to build no electricity home security traps that even criminals fear, no cameras, no alarms, just pure effective protection, powered by biblical wisdom and basic tools. Bonus #2, how to make your own pharmacy. Charles knew one of the biggest killers after an EMP won't be gunfire. It'll be disease, infection, fever. Because when the power fails, so do the pharmacies. So in this bonus, you'll learn the top 12 natural medicines you can grow or find almost anywhere, how to preserve and store them, even in heat and humidity, the remedies Amish families use to treat infections, inflammation, colds, and even fever without pharmaceuticals, how to use herbs, roots, and spices from your own pantry to make antibiotics, balms, and healing teas. It's like biblical first aid, passed down through generations, and now in your hands.
And because we believe survival shouldn't be done alone, you'll also receive private access to our member support areas. This is where you can ask Charles or myself direct questions. Get help applying the system to your specific situation. Join a growing group of men and women of faith preparing their homes and families together. Think of it like a digital fellowship of godly protectors, where iron sharpens iron, and no one prepares alone.
So to recap, when you say yes today, you'll receive the full Blast-Proof David's Shield Survival System, Off-Grid Home Protection Systems Bonus Report, How to Make Your Own Pharmacy Survival Medicine Guide, lifetime access to the Members Area and Support Channel, and all of it is designed to make you unshakable in the face of EMP collapse, civil breakdown, or spiritual warfare.
This is how you lead your family through the fire. This is how you say, "Not my house." Not on my watch. In fact, one of our readers used this very system during a mid-blizzard blackout.
When that ice storm hit last winter, the power was out for 9 days. I followed the off-grid heat and food storage sections from David's Shield, and my family didn't just survive, we stayed calm. I thank God I found this when I did.
Angela R., 42, Missouri. Because while the world waits for FEMA, you'll be feeding your family with peace in your heart. You'll have medicine when hospitals are locked. You'll have warmth when others freeze. You'll have water when the taps run dry. And most importantly, you'll be the man God called you to be, a protector, a provider, a remnant.
Now you might be wondering, what's this going to cost me? That's a fair question, and I think you'll be surprised. So here's the deal.
When Charles and I first finished Blast-Proof David's Shield, we asked a group of high-level survival experts and biblical preparedness leaders what they'd pay for it. The answer? Most said anywhere between $250 and $500, just for the core system, without the bonuses. And honestly, they were right. Because the average family spends $1,900 on a 3-month food stockpile, $6,000 on backup solar kits, $100 a month on meds and supplements, thousands more on home security, bug-out bags, and gear they don't even know how to use. But all of it can fail in minutes without the knowledge Charles packed into this system. So yeah, we could have priced this high. We could have done a live weekend seminar and charged $497 per seat. But that's not what this is about. This isn't about gouging people. This is about serving the remnant. It's about being obedient to what God has placed on our hearts. And it's about helping men like you step into your rightful role before it's too late.
So here's what we decided. If this video is still online, and if you're seeing this right now, you can get the full Blast-Proof David's Shield system, plus both bonuses and full access to the members area for just $67. One time, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. That's less than dinner for two. Less than your monthly phone bill. Less than a single trip to the gas pump. And sometimes, we also print a limited run of hard copies for those who want something physical, to keep on hand if the grid goes down, or toss in a go bag just in case. They go fast, and we never guarantee when more will be available. So if you see the hard copy option below, you can add it to your order for a small shipping charge before we run out again.
And in return, you get the power to protect your home, secure your loved ones, and walk boldly into the dark days ahead with a shield in your hand and peace in your soul. And if you're wondering if this aligns with Scripture, listen to what Pastor Daniel had to say.
As a pastor, I've always taught preparedness as part of obedience. David's Shield lines up perfectly with Scripture and gave me real-world solutions I can share with my entire congregation.
Reverend Daniel P., 63, Tennessee. Because this isn't just smart preparation, it's righteous obedience.
And just to make this a complete no-brainer, you're covered by my 60-day no-questions-asked money-back guarantee. Download it, read it, print it, use it, and if for any reason you're not blown away by the clarity, the wisdom, and the power this system gives you, just email us and you'll get every penny back. No hassle, no guilt, no judgment. I trust God's leading on this, and I trust your discernment.
But listen, let's be real. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. You've seen how fast things are moving. You've seen the headlines, the instability, the tension, the tech. You've seen how close we are to the point of no return. The next strike won't come with warning. And when it hits, the grid goes down. And the world you knew is over. So you have two choices. You can close this page and hope for the best, or you can say yes and take one righteous step toward being the man God is calling you to be. Because when the power fails, when the phones go dead, when the panic begins, your family won't be looking to FEMA. They'll be looking to you. And this is your moment to be ready.
Click the Add to Cart button below, grab your copy of Blast-Proof David's Shield, and become the man who stands when others fall. This is your time, your calling, your chance to be the one who heard the warning and did something about it. So raise your shield and be the man God called you to be.
Still here? Hey, maybe you're still watching, still thinking, still weighing it in your mind. That's okay, I get it. This is a serious decision, because once you say yes to this, you're not just buying a survival plan, you're stepping into a new identity. You're saying, I will be ready, I will lead, I will protect, I will walk in wisdom while others walk in fear. So if your heart's pounding a little right now, if something inside you is whispering, do it, that's not fear, That's discernment. And I know, like many before you, you might still have a few questions. So let me answer the most common ones right now. Number 1, how do I get the program? Is it digital? Yep, you'll get instant access to everything in digital format. You can read it on your phone, tablet, computer, or print it out. If we have hard copies available, you'll have the option to have one shipped straight to your door for a small shipping and handling fee, but they're not always in stock.
2. Is this for beginners or do I need experience?
You don't need any prepping experience. If you can follow simple steps, you can use this. Charles designed it for real families with real responsibilities, not off-grid experts with six-figure bunkers.
3. Does this only help with EMPs?
Not at all. It's built around EMP survival. But the tools, systems, and knowledge work for any long-term disaster. Blackouts, cyber attacks, storms, economic collapse, or civil unrest. If you're ready for an EMP, you're ready for anything.
4. Is there a guarantee?
Absolutely. You're backed by our 60-day no-questions-asked guarantee. If it's not everything I've promised, just email us and get a full refund. We don't make excuses. We just honor our word.
5. Why only $67?
Because we're not doing this to get rich. We're doing this to wake up the remnant, to equip the men who God is raising up to lead during the collapse. We want you prepared, not priced out. So here we are. No more questions, no more what-ifs, no more waiting for someone else to lead. God didn't put this message in front of you by accident, and you don't need to have it all figured out today. You just need to take the first step. Because the men who survive what's coming aren't the strongest, aren't the wealthiest, aren't the most tactically trained. They're the ones who listened to the warning and acted while there was still time.
Click the button below and let this be the day your story turns from fear to faith to fireproof. I'll see you inside.